Hello there guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Alex and today I've got another video for you. Do another tier list review and today it's going to be Bad Religion. Bad Religion, another one of my favourite bands in very marked distinction from those other two that I've reviewed, Beach Boys and Beatles. But at the very least another band beginning with a B, so hey, let's jump right into this one. But before I do, once again, please consider giving me a like, please consider subscribing to the channel, and then finally please do leave me your thoughts about how you may disagree or even agree with some of my opinions, because although some of my opinions today, as I predict, are going to be pretty normal, I definitely have a few that are going to be a little more unique. Yeah, I'd love to hear your opinions about these. So let's jump right into this list. So here we are, tiermaker.com. All of their back catalogue, I believe, until the present day. We're going to do it in chronological order. Starting right off, therefore, we're going to start with How Can Hell Get Any Worse? I think I'm going to start this by putting their first album in C. I'm not sure if it's going to be in D, but let's just put it in C for the time being, because although the recording quality is janky as hell, at the very least we can say the songs they've written for this one are pretty good. When they perform them live in sort of the modern era, you can definitely hear that they're fairly good songs. As a collection of tracks, it's doing quite well for a first release, so I can't be too unfair. Let's just put that at least in C. That could go down as this list goes on, because I've not really got an opinion. I've not really got a plan on where I'm putting what. I may have some good ideas, but yeah, this is all completely improvised. Into the Unknown. Hot take already. I prefer Into the Unknown more than their first album. Their second album, Into the Unknown. The actual tunes on it, obviously it's not Bad Religion by any sense of the word. It's not anything stylistically punk.
I'm not rock and roll.
I like prog. So yeah, I prefer Into the Unknown a little bit more, but not by a huge amount, but yeah, I'm going to call a spade a spade. I prefer listening to that one a lot more than the other one. It's got a little bit better recording quality anyway. So let's just pop it in C. I'm putting it in C because I actually really do like it. I have quite a soft spot for that album. So yeah, not going to be unfair on it just because a lot of people hate it. Next, we've got Suffer, which goes in S. Suffer is such an improvement on How Can Hell Get Any Worse? I mean, clearly, just by the late 80s, they are already kind of reaching that sort of peak Bad Religion period. The songs as well are just classic. That first side A, some of the songs are a little bit repetitive, but they're still really strong. Cows and More Fools, Suffer, Do What You Want, classic Bad Religion right there. You've got Land of Competition, you've got When, How Much Is Enough, so many good songs. So for the songs overall, although maybe we could say other albums worthy of S are stronger, I'm not quite sure where I'm putting where, but even though some of these songs are a little bit repetitive and derivative of each other, it's classic Bad Religion. Classic. And brownie points as well for it being so early on in their career. So yeah, it's getting an S, getting an easy S from me. Some people would say it's a bit weaker than S, maybe A. I definitely am very nostalgic for it as well, so maybe I'm biased. I'm popping Suffer in S for sure. Next we've got No Control. I'm going to put No Control in S, but that is definitely a cut above Suffer for sure. By No Control, they're so raw and firing on all cylinders. It's just non-stop mayhem. No Control as an album name is so fitting. Side A, just like Suffer, I mean, Side A is so good. By Side B, it does start to sort of wane a bit, but it's just packed with quality. Better than Suffer. Might be their best album. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, it's just raw, iconic. So many amazing songs. I'm not really going to do so much justice by naming them because that first side is just non-stop awesome songs. Change of Ideas, No Control, Automatic Man. Sometimes I feel like I Want to Conquer the World. So good, so good. I mean, whether we're going to say Suffer's S, you know, that might be a bit debatable, but there's no way No Control is anything but an S. Such a great album, so good. So I'm not going to really rattle on and on. No Control, no debate, that's an S tier. Against the Grain, sort of part of that trilogy, I will put in A.
Hey.
Reason for why I put that in A is while there are some amazing tunes, some of my favourites including Entropy, Modern Man and Walk Away, there are some songs that do let it down a bit, sort of bumps the road slightly. The consistency of the album suffers slightly here. I mean, the positive aspect of Negative Thinking, Turn on the Light, or Quality or Quantity. There are some really good songs, but there are a few songs on Against the Grain which are a little bit weaker overall. Bring the album down slightly compared to the other few albums we've just talked about. I really like Against the Grain. It's a really good album, one of their best, but yeah. It's got fierce competition in Suffer and No Control for sure. Overall, it's highs and maybe not quite so high. So yeah, it's easy A. Next we've got Generator. Yeah, Generator for me, isn't quite so strong, so it's going in B. Generator is still very punk, very raw. There's something about the recording quality that I don't really love, though. There's something about the drum sound I think it's a bit stale, a bit flat. The guitars are a bit scooped. This sounds a bit weird. Whatever. The title track, Generator, top 3 probably. So one of their best songs of all time. Absolutely. It's one of their live staples for a good reason. But as for all the songs that follow, I mean, you've got a few pretty good songs. Tomorrow is pretty good. Atomic Garden, this gets a lot of hype. It's fine. It's not their best. Chimera and Only Entertainment are pretty good too. But then you've got Babies in the Dark. Fertile Crescent, it's fine, but nowhere near as good as those other few. Heaven is Falling, again, exact same thing. It's like, it's not bad, it's just not so strong. So for the fact that it's got the song Generator, really does bump it up quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, the overall song quality does go down from Against the Grain for me, but still a fairly good set of songs. And Generator is fantastic. I think what I'm going to predict here is there are some worse albums than Generator, so I'm going to probably mark those two down just on that basis. Not to say that they're suddenly worse, it's just, yeah, I can definitely say they're going to be some C tiers. I may have to even add a row. I probably will have to. Let's talk about Recipe for Hate. I'd say Recipe for Hate at least B as well. The thing about Generator, it started taming the raw punk energy, slow down slightly, and yeah, Recipe for Hate's sort of a deepening of that trend, unfortunately. It's not to say that it's worse objectively just because it's less punk, but I think we definitely all should appreciate the punk Bad Religion more so overall. I'm probably going to be best talking about the songs, so I'm just going to grab the song list. Recipe for Hate is fantastic. It's one of the best on the album. Kerosene's fair. American Jesus is a good track and it's pretty hyped, but we can definitely say that that trend is sort of realizing here. The slowing down, it's getting less balls to the wall, firing on all cylinders a little bit less. It's still a fun song. Portrait of Authority is, and it's a bit slower, but it's a fairly solid tune. Man with a Mission, I think that's getting a bit worse now. All Good Soldiers, exactly the same. Watch It Die, I mean, these are definitely getting a bit more radio friendly, you could say. Shock and Nerve is a pretty decent song. I mean, it's the same sort of slower speed, but whatever. My Poor Friend Me. Very melancholic. Looking In, I actually really like Looking In. Don't Pray on Me, I'm not a huge fan of. Same with Modern Day Catastrophe. And then finally, the album closer, Skyscraper. That's maybe my favourite on the album. So we got Recipe for Hate, Skyscraper, and Looking In.
Very good.
Very, very good. But yeah, we got to admit, one or two of these songs are a little bit, a little bit jank. A little bit more radio friendly, less punk. But it's still a good time. I like the album a lot. It's definitely not got so many great songs. It's the same story as Generator. You've got some amazing tunes like the actual song Generator, but these two are definitely not so good like Against the Grain, Suffer, and No Control. So they're B. Still fairly good. Not to say that these are bad at all. These are fairly good. It's just, yeah, this is the point in their careers where they're changing a little bit for whatever reason. Next, we've got Stranger Than Fiction. Stranger Than Fiction, that's an easy S as well. The only question is where does it stack amongst the other S tier albums? I think it's better than Suffer. Whether it's better than No Control is very difficult. Incomplete's very good. Same as Leave Mine to Me. Stranger Than Fiction, although it's a bit more radio friendly, obviously, it's still a fairly good song. It fits very well amongst these other tunes. Tiny Voice is probably my favourite Bad Religion song of all time. Handshake's good. Better Off Dead's good. Infected's very good. Television is a bit of a meme. A lot of people give it a lot of hate, but whatever. Individual, Hooray For Me, Slumber. Oof. Smart, Inner Logic, What It Is, 20th Century Digital Boy, the better version of 21st Century Digital Boy. Some of the bonus songs, Leaders and Followers and Markovian Process, are awesome as well. I think whether it's better than No Control is a really tough question. On the basis of personal preference, I think I will bump it up a little bit.
What kind of shit is that?
Because this album is really, really solid. Whether it's as iconic, it's not as iconic as No Control, but on the basis of the tracks, and because it's got my favourite song, I might change my mind later, but overall, it's probably at the top of S tier for now. I feel guilty. So next we've got Grey Race. Grey Race, yeah, that's definitely B. But as for where it is in the B row, It's hard. Yeah, I think it's similar to Recipe for Hate. It's got some really good songs. It's definitely got a lot of quantity, but quality is difficult to assess. I'll have to admit, off of the bat, towards the middle, the album definitely slows down. But its momentum definitely weakens. Yeah, just like Recipe for Hate, it's got less punk. But yeah, the less punk songs are pretty good still. Streets of America, 10 in 2010, Victory, Drunk Sincerity, Can Join Us in Seas. They're good. I like those last songs on the album, those last 6. They're very good in sequence, but yeah, Empty Causes, Nobody Listens, Pity the Dead, and Spirit Shine. Yeah, by no means are they bad, but they're fairly forgettable. First few songs as well are pretty good. Grey Race, Them and Us, The Walk, Parallel Punk Rock song, they're good. Yes, it's sort of like a goodness sandwich. You know, you've got good right at the beginning and towards the end, and you've got some more forgettable towards the middle. I think I'll probably keep the album order for B tier the same there for the moment, because the best songs in Recipe for Hate are better than the best songs on Grey Race. Grey Race may be a bit stronger because it's got more songs, but that's a bit unfair. So as a ratio of song number to banger, I think Recipe for Hate slightly wins out. It's tough though. They're both pretty good. They're pretty similar in quality. Oh gosh. We got No Substance now. Hot take. I'm putting No Substance probably about there. Oh god. No Substance gets so much hate, but it's got a really good side A. Hey. Hear it, it's pretty cheesy, but it's pretty good. Shades of Truth is just a good song. All Fantastic Images is quite unlike Bad Religion, but it's good. I like it. Biggest Killer is good. No Substance is good. Raise Your Voice, cheesy as hell, but good. And then Sowing the Seeds is pretty good. Hippie Killers, yep. Stay at the End of the Millennium Address, that's pretty bad. Voracious March of Godliness. Mediocre Minds and Victims of the Revolution are good. And then I think the album sort of drops a bit. But those songs are so good when they are good. They're at the very least better than Grey Race in some. I can't lie, yeah. No Substance is really underrated. It's a bit of a sleeper. I think a lot of people need to give it more of a chance. I'm going to be very controversial. I'm going to bump it up even more than Recipe for Hate. It's nowhere near as classic as Recipe for Hate. I'd say after Stranger Than Fiction, their classic days were gone. Stranger Than Fiction was the last classic album, I think, and then Grey Race is that sort of new era. So really, Grey Race isn't more classic, and then Recipe for Hate isn't even better. So I'm going to give it its dues. I'm going to be very objective. That's my opinion. I'm sure you guys will disagree. Let me know in the comments. What else we got? Yeah, New America. I'd probably say New America is C. It's not dreadful. Like, first few songs are pretty good. Hopeless Housewives are a banger. There's some songs a lot of people think are a bit more of a meme, and like, yeah. For example, I Love My Computer, I think is a fairly fine track. You've Got a Chance is good. It's Long Way is good. The New America as the tune is quite good too. I think Whisper in Time is pretty decent too. I'm kind of forgetting a few of these. But as a whole, the album is fine. It's still underrated. It's not quite as good as No Substance, obviously, but I think the theme of the album is it doesn't really have a good set of bangers. It's got some very consistent fine songs. That's why it's C and not B. There's no way the New America's worse than their first album, which is an easy feat, but yeah. Got some fairly good songs. The ones I just listed are pretty good, but it's C. And we're moving ahead to Process of Belief now. Process of Belief is going right at the top of S.
Yoink.
For me, and that's just purely because it's my favorite album. I don't think it's got a single forgettable, skippable song. All of these songs are just so good. It's a remarkable, aggressive return to form. And with their new drummer as well, with Wackerman, it's just non-stop good. Even slightly more than Stranger Than Fiction, and slightly more than No Control. It might be nostalgia. I think maybe Process of Belief was my first real introduction. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It's definitely one of my first. Yeah, I'm just looking at those songs. There's not a single bad song. They're all so good. They're not all S, but the consistency of the album is probably the best level, best quality consistency of any other album that I've talked about so far. Yeah, just non-stop wall-to-wall bangers for me. So many classics. You can't knock it down any more than S. The order for me is pretty opinionated. It's pretty subjective, personal preference. Yeah, I'm probably going to put it at the top of S. It can, as an album, Process of Belief is so good. with those songs and with that flow, it can do no wrong. A lot of people love this one. I think the hype is very well deserved. It gets a lot of love. It's well rated. I think it's appropriately rated. So yeah, that's my opinion on that one. Next we've got The Empire Strikes First, and objectively, although it's not among my favourites, I can't deny it is a really good album. It's very similar to Process of Belief. Yeah, I think I'll put it in A. Objectively, it's probably a little bit better than Against the Grain. It's less classic. I'm a bit more of a classic fan, but as an album, just like I just said, the new material can be pretty damn strong, and it reminds me a lot of Process of Belief in the sense that its style and substance is really similar. I may as well look at the tracks a little bit here. Sinister Rouge, good. Social Suicide, good. I'm going to say good. But yeah, I think there might be one or two skippables towards the end, but yeah, ultimately, most of the album is really, really good. Comparing these songs with the ones in B, it's way better. Even better than Generator, better than Recipe for Hate, Grey Race, No Substance, for sure for me. I think a lot of people as well would say it's generally pretty good, better than these other ones. Maybe not. It's more subjective than Process of Belief. Process of Belief is kind of like the darling of this era. But yeah, it's a pretty damn good list of songs. Hard to say whether it's better than Against the Grain. I'll pop it in A. Whether it's truly better or worse is up to interpretation. Worse than Against the Grain. It's less classic, but maybe objectively the songs are a little bit better. Here's where I'd probably put a bit of a bookmark in this video. The albums from here on out, this is the era where I think they're a lot weaker, personally.
How dare you?
And I just think that there's a marked drop in quality here. Some songs are still really, really good. Some of my favourite songs are among some of these albums, but this is by far their weakest third. First one in this period, New Maps of Hell. I'd probably put it at the top of C. Yeah, the reason I said it's got a good first start. Those first few songs are heavy. I love it. Honest Goodbye is really good, but then, yeah, most of the album, although it's fine, it's not truly bad, it's just quite forgettable compared to the other albums. I don't know if that's really a spicy take. Some of those good some of those good first songs are really, really good. Yeah, I think C is pretty damn appropriate. I'm not going to waste too much time by talking about this, but I think we all kind of know that there's a place for New Maps in a few of these, and it's definitely lower than Generator. Next, we've got Fall of Man. I would probably put Fall of Man there. A little bit worse than New Maps, but it's got some good songs. First few songs, as usual, pretty good. Yeah, they're fine. First few are good, and then it gets all a little bit sort of middle of the road up until the end. And definitely towards the end there are some weaker ones, but yeah. They're not brilliant. They're pretty fair. They're satisfactory. But they don't touch B, they don't touch A, they definitely don't touch S. This is what I was saying, that effect in full force. The song quality is so much worse. Say what you want, but I'm going to say what I want, and that's the Fall of Man. So forgettable, most of it. Next is True North. I'm going to put True North at the top of C, not because of consistency, not because of overall album quality, but because some of the songs in True North are some of my favourites, funnily enough. Fuck You is pretty good, True North is pretty good, Dharma and the Bomb is pretty good, you got Robin Hood in Reverse is pretty good too. A lot of the other songs though, forgettable, pretty trite. There's just some sort of loss of magic that was in these albums, really sadly. That spark that they had in, at least, Empire Strikes First, is nowhere really to be seen. Even Empire Strikes First, although that's not S, it's like just straight up, song after song are so good. And then all of those in C, after at least Empire Strikes First, they're not doing themselves any favours. Good for True North for having some of my favourites, but yeah, it's C. It's not B, it's C. Better than New Maps, a little bit anyway. I think New Maps is a bit more of a consistently good album overall, and True North is maybe a little bit less strong in that sense alone, but it gets a lot of brownie points from me for having such good songs. And then finally, you've got The Age of Unreason. I'm really not a big fan at all of The Age of Unreason. It has a very good track in The Approach. The Approach is one of their best songs, but overall, that's not really going to bump it up that much. It's better than D. Even The New America's got more good songs. The Approach is very, very good, but everything, yeah, pretty much every other song I just don't really care about. They're just that forgettable. Sad. But what can you say? I've just got to be honest. The Approach is a damn good song, but yeah, that's the same sort of effect that True North has. Some really damn good songs, but the extent of how much they get bumped up by that is pretty subjective. And I don't think The Approach is that good to the point where it's leapfrogging the other albums in front of it. So there's my list. So let's review S tier is pretty uncontroversial. I think these albums get rated very well. A could be a bit more controversial. I mean, some people might say that Suffer's worse than Against the Grain. I'm not too sure. Generator could be sort of a hot take, but maybe the hottest take on the whole thing here is where I've put No Substance. I mean, forget about Into the Unknown. It's still D. That one's going to get quite a bit of flack. Do tell me. I think Recipe for Hate, I mean, it's right next to Grey Race. I think those two are pretty similar in quality. And C tier, I think the only really controversial thing about C tier is exactly where I placed what. But those albums, I think you'll find them on most C rows of most people's tiers. Thank you so much again for watching my video. Please consider liking, please consider subscribing as well. That'd mean a lot to me. But most importantly, please do leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. But that's the video today. Until the next upload, guys, peace, signing off.